me. Sit on my face and free me. I heard that the ops wish they swap in my place. I swear they want me gone. MIA, not today. And she gon' let her shots from the back in RA. And when I hit it right, she gon' say, just tell me that you want me. You know that I listen. Just tell me that you need me. You know that I'm different. Just tell me that you got that. Just tell me what it feel like. I just want that ass fast. You know I'ma do right. Just tell me that you want me. You know that I listen. Just tell me that you need me. 'Cause you know that I'm different, oh. Just tell me that you got that. Just tell me what it feel like. You know that
All right. That was Pavelli, aka Pasha 2 Times, called Want Me. You can put in Pasha 2 Times on all streaming platforms. Go download that. That is an amazing song. A longtime friend of mine, great guy, family man. He deserves his flowers. But let's get into it. So I want to go to this clip that I saw on TikTok. And a guy, he was talking about dread game. Now, if you don't know what dread game is a form of anxiety, right, that you implement on a girl. Now, on a lot of my videos on TikTok, I talk about pulling back, the whole idea of pulling back and punishing her, more or less, if she does something that is considered bad behavior. So that's dread game. So, and a lot of guys implement dread game when, for example, if, say, they might ignore a girl purposely, right? But you got to be careful with dread game, and a lot of guys do it wrong. Now, this guy here, I don't know his name, but he seems to be trying to give game or giving game. Now, he gave one part, but I can tell that his game is a little off because he said he doesn't really believe in dread game. But see, that becomes a problem when you don't believe in dread game when it comes to a relationship. But I'll elaborate on all of that. Let's just get into the clip, and then we'll get into it. So just listen to him carefully. I'm going to play it 2 times, and then we'll go from there.
If a woman calls you or texts you, let the phone ring, or don't respond for 4 hours. Take a whole day to yourself and then get back to her. Be short with your responses. These are aspects of dread game, making a woman become emotionally anxious because she's wondering where she stands in the romantic field with you. I don't advocate for dread game. The problem with dread game is that you're actually putting way more effort into getting her to like you than you are into your purpose. The same actions can be taken with different intentions behind them. You can have a girl messaging you and nothing going on in your life, and all you're doing is taking your time to emotionally manipulate her with dread, being toxic, as they say, taking your time to respond, but you're focused on when to respond to her. I've done some of these things, although they do yield good results. The problem is that you can't keep this up forever. The same results can come with following your purpose. For instance, if a woman I'm dating texts me and is looking for a response, I'm going to be busy throughout the day working on the things that will get me to where I want to be in life. I'm so focused on them. And when I get a minute, if I check my phone and I notice, oh, she texted me, she sent me a Snapchat, she's called me, I will then take the time to respond to her. Say she's saying, hey, how's it going? Or something insignificant in that regard. I'll message her back and say, hey, it's great, just busy right now. I'll give you a call later tonight. Or, hey, I'm a little busy right now. Let's grab dinner. When are you free next? And then just leave it. She'll respond. I'll set up a date, because this thing is purely for setting up dates. It is not for getting to know someone. I spend very little time texting or calling a woman. I spend the majority of my time with her in person, because that leads to physical intimacy, leads to bonding, interacting, and enjoying my time. Because if I'm not working on my purpose, I better have a damn good excuse for not doing that.
All right. So I want to break down a few things that he said. Now, like, I'll be honest, there are some things that he said that is true. For example, now, when he talks about being on your purpose is dread game, basically what he's saying is you have some guys who really don't have a life, right? And this is the problem, and this is why I always tell guys, make sure you have a life before you start talking to a girl, because you got a lot of situations where guys find themselves, and when their girl leaves them and they want to commit suicide because they gave themselves all to the girl. They put the girl as number one focus in their life, which should never, a female can never come first. She can never, ever come first, right? And one of the problems is when you put the female first and when she decides to leave you and she becomes your world is crushed. This is why you can't put female first. And plus, one, God always comes first. I don't care if you don't believe in God, then you need to put something else above everything, right? And then if you don't want to do that, yourself. Law of the land is self-preservation. If you don't have a life, if you don't have a purpose, if you're not breathing, you're not healthy, you won't have her yourself, right? So that's one of the problems. And a lot of guys who don't have a purpose, they'll purposely ignore girls, right? Implementing dread game unnecessarily. Now, one thing that he said was true about being on your purpose. Being on your purpose can have the same effect as dread game. And it happens with me all the time. Like right now, there's some girls that want to text me. I just subtly stop because I'm doing a podcast. Pardon me. I'm on my purpose, right? And this is something that I'm helping guys out, right? I'm teaching guys game, and I also make a lot of money from it. So I enjoy doing it. And this is so fun for me. It doesn't even feel like work, right? So I'm on my purpose. So that can have the same effect as dread game, right? But then he goes on to say dread game is a form of manipulation. Listen, all game is manipulation, right? And females are the finest at it. Females manipulate without sometimes even being taught, right? That's just like a female's nature because they know they can't change and take things with brute force. So they have to be a little more conniving and sneaky and cultivating in their cultivating their way into getting things, right? So females are a little more natural at it. Now, in relation to putting in effort, listen, you're gonna always put in effort, right? And a lot of guys put in effort because he says that, doing dread game is a form of manipulation, and you're putting all this extra effort in that you have to purposely do this. And this lets me know that his game is not where mine is at, because you would never misguide somebody and tell them, oh, you don't have to implement dread, because there's so many problems with that, right? Now he says, oh, you're putting in all this extra effort. Either way you look at it, you're gonna have to put in effort, especially at the beginning, right? Especially if a girl's playing a little hard to get and you want to persuade her and you got to talk to her and she's playing tough and she's not answering your text sometimes. So then you got to wait a week. You got to get back to her. You don't want to double text so you don't seem too needy. You're going to be putting in effort. But the problem is not doing dread game. You'll be putting in effort and get no fucking results, right? You'll be calling this girl. You'll be texting this girl. You'll be putting in tons of effort and getting nowhere for your fucking time, right? Now, implementing dread game, you'll have a lot of different results when doing that, right? And the problem, what I had with him is saying that dread game is just ignoring her. There are different levels, and this is that you have different levels of understanding when it comes to dread game, right? Because he's talking about dread game is just ignoring her. Dread game isn't just ignoring her. So basically what dread game is anxiety, right? And there's different forms of dread game. Now, one of the problems is, like say for example, what do you do when your girl is talking to a lot of guys, right? You're not even dealing with the aspect of just talking to a girl, because he gave a context of just starting out talking to a girl, and that's not even the right time to implement dread game, right? You just start talking out to a girl and you're talking to this girl, you're messing with her, maybe you guys had sex, but you know she still has options and she's entertaining these other options. You've been talking to this girl for a while now, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month or two, right? But she's still entertaining other options and not taking you so serious, right? So she might not necessarily be a low quality female right away, but you know that she's doing this. So what is dread game? There's a lot of different ways to implement dread game. That's one. Punishing her for flakes, right? So that is ignoring her. So if she pulls a flake on you, you know what? I'm going to cut contact until she reaches back out to me to let her know I'm not entertained by that shit you did. That's one form of dread game. Pulling away nice behavior, right? Say, for example, if she's doing some shit that you don't necessarily like, but it's not something that you wanna call her out on. Like say if she's like always talking to guys when she's with you, talking about other guys, and it might not even be purposely. Sometimes they do it on purpose, sometimes they don't. So, you're gonna pull away your nice behavior, right? Or say, for example, and this was one of the prime examples when you're talking to a girl, is when you're talking to a girl and she flakes on you and you know she still has other options, right? So, and she's been like, putting you off, you're trying to hang out with her and she keeps making excuses. Because when somebody wants to hang out with you, they will make time for the things that they want. So what you do is you say, okay, you asked her to hang out, boom, okay, cool. So then the next day when you were supposed to be hanging out with her, you'll be hanging out with somebody else. Maybe you'll post it on your story, or when she texts you, you'll say, well, she'll be like, oh, hey, what you doing? What you up to? Oh, I'm just out right now. Oh, who you with? Oh, somebody invited me on a date, so I just went out with them, right? And then you may not text her for a few hours after that, but you're letting her know, listen, you're gonna continue entertaining other options. Okay, but listen, well, other people want me too, and I'm going to entertain these options also. That is a form of dread game. Dread game isn't just ignoring, right? And one thing that he failed to realize, that failed to elaborate on, is the different types of dread game, right? Pardon me. Now, one big mistake he said was, oh, it's manipulation. Listen, everything in game is manipulation, right? When you talking to a girl who's a little full of herself and she's a 9 or a 10, and you give her gum and you say, whoa, here, this hit, would you like a piece of gum? Oh, no, I'm fine. Take the gum, right? You're lowering her self-esteem. So this way you guys are on an even playing field. So this way she doesn't think she's better than you, because that's what hypergamy is. Usually females don't fuck with certain guys because they believe that they're better than them. They don't probably have a fucking cent to their name. They could be fucking broke. Don't even have a house, don't even have a car, still live at home with their parents, but still believe that they're better than a guy because of their fucking looks, right? Most women are delusional. But when you play on that, it's manipulation. All game is manipulation. So for you saying that it's not manipulation is a problem. Okay, so cool. If dread game, if you don't like dread game, so what the fuck do you do in a relationship, right? What do you do in a relationship when you have a girl who's talking to guys, right? Now, if you have your girl, she's talking to other guys, she's texting other guys, right? Entertaining other guys, maybe hanging out with other guys, what is it? Maybe going out late with her friends to bars looking for attention. How do you correct that? Now, you take a big risk if you sit there and try to talk about your emotions like a female, get into your feminine frame, right? You take a risk when you complain to her. You take a risk when you argue with her. You take a risk when you show jealousy, right? Because when you show those vulnerabilities, that is a form of weakness. And then when you play on that hypergamous nature, she's going to be like, oh, he's showing weakness. Oh, he's being too needy, right? And if you do this for a certain amount of time, that could cost you a relationship, right? Especially when you complain. And females will say, oh, why can't you just express yourself, show your feelings? I did a whole podcast on that shit yesterday. Do not fall for the bullshit. Because when you start to show your emotions, they will punish you for it. And how do you get her to prevent her from doing these things, from going out with guys, going out late to bar, wearing little slutty clothing that maybe you don't like? Some guys like it. Some guys are not cool with it, right? How do you prevent those things? By implementing anxiety. What is anxiety? That's called dread game, right? Like when she's seeking attention, right? She's seeking attention. What do? You have to implement one of the 5 or 4 anxieties that I put out there, right? What else? Because you can never change a woman's mind. You can only change her emotions. And you got to remember that. So when you take that into account, if you say, babe, I don't want you going out doing these things, but why? I'm just having fun with my friends. Are you that insecure? She's going to try to manipulate you, call you insecure. Like, no. Would your father be okay with you wearing a fucking mini skirt and your ass and your panties are showing? No, he would not be okay with that. So why would I be okay with it? You will not change her mind. You can't negotiate with terrorists. So what do? You have to implement anxiety. That's when anxiety comes in. So for a guy to say that, oh, you don't need anxiety, I don't like that, it's manipulation, that just lets me know that his game isn't on a level where mine is at. Or his game is just at one of the most lowest levels where he can just know what dread game is, but a motherfucker can't really tell you how to implement it. What is dread? Dread is anxiety. And what studies have shown, when you implement anxiety in a relationship, you actually build attraction in the female. It actually builds her attraction. She becomes more attracted to you. I see it all the time with the guys that are in my coaching clients. I see it all the time with the guys who book private consultations, right? Now you got to implement one of the four anxieties, right? And that's on Patreon. If you're not on Patreon, get on Patreon, right? You could be saving your relationship. You want to be a cheap fuck and don't want to pay fucking $16. Well, you know what? It's costing your relationship. You could have been changed it. It's a lot of things on there that can help guys who pay $30 twice a month or 3 times a month for a private consultation when you could just be paying $16 a month and get everything you fucking need. Some guys who's paying an hour session 3 times a month. I'm a full-blown fucking psychologist for some of these guys. Just pay for the fucking Patreon. You're paying $400, $300 a month. Book the private coaching. It's $240 a month. You'll be saving yourself some money. But those guys got money. Whatever. They don't really give a fuck about that. Money's not an object for some people. I get it. Now, my point is in saying that you being on your purpose, you won't get these forms of you can't implement anxiety, right? And you being on your purpose isn't going to change everything, right? Okay, I'm on my purpose. Okay, you on your purpose. So what if your girl's complaining about, what if she's saying that, I'm going out with my friends, but you on your purpose and you working all the time and you can't give her no attention, or you can give her minimal attention. You know what you got to do? You got to implement anxiety, because you can't say, oh, babe, I don't really like that you go out so much and you complaining like a bitch now. No, you have to go about that in a different way. You have to take away something. Take away your attention. Implement the L word. Implement sex anxiety. There's a lot of different anxieties that I put on Patreon that you can implement without arguing, without showing weakness. And then when you show that you're upset about something and she wants to be vindictive and she wants to get you upset. Okay, cool. You want to make me upset? I'm going to get you upset because I know what made you mad last time. So this is what I'm going to do to make you upset this time. You can never give them any leverage. You can never show any jealousy. You can't be triggered. And a lot of guys don't even know this exists. A lot of guys don't even know that, showing jealousy. And if you have a vindictive girl, she can try to push your buttons. But you want to give her no buttons to press. You're not a fucking game. You're not a PlayStation 5. Give that bitch no buttons to press. And my thing is, your purpose isn't gonna fix all these things. And any motherfucker on TikTok or YouTube talking about express your emotions, let her know how you feel. Okay, you can, after you implement anxiety. Because first you have to lead by example. Like, for example, when I say a girl disrespects you, and you tell her once, don't talk to me like that, and she persists, okay, cool, I'm taking away my attention. So you don't talk to her for a day or two. What does that show? That shows and conveys 2 things. 1, I'm not going to tolerate the disrespect. 2, if you continue to disrespect me, I will separate myself from you. And you separating yourself from her is going to show her that if you continue this, there will be absence of my attention, meaning I will leave you. That's what you're communicating with her when you do that, right? And this is what I'm telling you. Your purpose won't fix all of that. You just can't, I'm going to go to work and my girl, I have these issues, but I don't know how to correct it. You have to implement anxiety, which is dread game. So any motherfucker talking about, you don't have to do that. No. Any motherfucker talking about, let me express my emotions and tell her how I feel, you're negotiating with terrorists. And then when you do that, you give up leverage yourself, because then she feels as if she can do the same thing to you for things you don't want to compromise, like fucking liking pictures on Instagram. That shit is crazy. That shit is bewildering to me. A lot of motherfuckers, you motherfuckers want to compromise yourself for liking pictures. It's a picture. It's a picture. I'm not stopping liking pictures. I'm not unfollowing anybody because you're highly insecure and you feel disrespected. Get the fuck out of my face. No, we're not doing that. Now, obviously, you don't have to talk to her like that, right? You can be respectful about it. Just say simply, respectfully, no, I'm not. It's my Instagram. You're being controlling and manipulative. Why are you being controlling? I'm not a fucking child. I'm a grown-ass man. My mother doesn't even tell me what to like and what not like. Why the fuck do you think that you have the nerve? I don't even understand how you have the audacity to try to come and tell me to do these things, right? So the point is, in order to get results, even in relationships, without arguing, without showing jealousy, without showing weakness, without crying, without going back and forth with it, is to implement dread game. And your purpose is not going to give you those results. You're never going to get those results being quote unquote on your purpose, right? So, you know, guys like that, it doesn't make sense. And I just want to play the clip one more time, just to let you guys see what I was talking about, just as a reminder.
If a woman calls you or texts you, let the phone ring, or don't respond for 4 hours. Take a whole day to yourself and then get back to her. Be short with your responses. These are aspects of dread game, making a woman become emotionally anxious because she's wondering where she stands in the romantic field with you. I don't advocate for dread.
And that's another thing. Anxious is anxiety, right? So you never want to give a woman certainty. Never. Because when she has that certainty, she gets a little more comfortable. And when she gets comfortable, things get a little more predictable, right? And even if you say it, your actions don't want to display it. You let your actions display something totally different, right? You have to implement anxiety. And for the simple fact, how you keep a woman long-term is highs and lows. What are highs and lows? So you want to give her a really good time, have fun times, good sex, have fun, go out to eat, go on vacations, go on trips, go out to amusement parks, see movies, go out to dinner, have a good time, enjoy yourself. Then you need lows, implementing anxiety. That's the key to keeping a relationship long-term. You need the anxiety. So, and whenever you give a woman certainty, you get boring, you get predictable. You get boring and predictable. So when you're listening to these guys and they don't know what they're talking about, and you taking their advice and then you go wrong, then you wonder why. Now, to be fair, the clip was only maybe a minute and 30 seconds. But anxiety is something that you need from beginning to end in a relationship. And there are different types of anxiety. Stop listening to these motherfuckers. I should be, it's maybe about 5 people that I would say you could take advice from on TikTok. And I should be the first one, especially when it comes to relationship dynamics.
The problem with dread game is that you're actually putting way more effort into getting her to like you than you are into your purpose. The same actions can be taken with...
Listen, either way, you're gonna be putting effort. Your purpose never stops, no matter what. That's what game is. Game is effort, right? You're always gonna be putting effort. And the problem is, like I said earlier, a lot of motherfuckers put in effort and get nothing. They be, oh, I'm gonna take her on a date. I'm gonna buy her this. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna spend this. I'm gonna spend all this expensive money on a restaurant. And then some motherfuckers never even get the pussy. They never even get a second date. You're always going to put effort.
Different intentions behind them. You can have a girl messaging you and nothing going on in your life, and all you're doing is taking your time to emotionally manipulate her with dread, being toxic, as they say, taking your time to respond, but you're focused on when to respond to her. I've done some of these things, although they do yield good results. The problem...
And then he said they do yield good results. Of course they're going to yield good results.
...is that you can't keep this up forever. The same results can come with following your purpose.
Listen. Like I said, you try his way, then try my way and see which works. The key to a relationship is highs and lows. And for him to say that you can't keep this up forever, that is a clear indication that his game is faulty. He probably still believes that, oh, game is only at the beginning. I shouldn't have to game my girl forever. And this is why divorce rates are so fucking high. And they're initiated by mostly women, 70 to 80%. Of women initiate divorces. Why? Because motherfuckers like that say you can't keep this up forever. You can't have highs and lows. You have to have highs and lows in a relationship. It's all game. And motherfuckers like this are teaching people that, oh, you can't keep this up forever. And now your game is going to be faulty. And then next thing you know, your wife is divorcing you. Come on now.
For instance, if a woman I'm dating texts me and is looking for a response, I'm going to be busy throughout the day working on the things that will get me to where I want to be.
I can't even listen to it no more. But the point is, guys, you got to have game. You got to continue gaming. It doesn't always have to be so extra, and it gets a little extensive sometimes when you're dealing with a difficult woman, right? When you have a difficult woman and she's hard to deal with, you're better off letting her go, because doing extra shit all the time can be annoying. It can be annoying and it gets difficult. I get it. But at that point, you just need to let her go. You just let her go if she's super difficult and she's hard to deal with. But usually, when you keep game up like this, they get attached and you keep them long term. Right? I'm gonna take a few questions, and then I'm gonna I'm gonna play this song "Want Me" by Pasha 2 Times, aka Pavelli, and then we'll take some questions. I'm gonna just end this off right here. Guys, you gotta game your girls. Don't listen to these suckers on fucking TikTok, YouTube. They don't know what they talking about.
Too tight. Just tell me that you want me. You know that I listen. Just tell me that you need me. You know that I'm different. Just tell me that you got that. Just tell me what it feel like. I just want that ass fast. You know I'ma do right. Just tell me that you want me. I heard you got what? Pussy drop, it ain't trap. I heard you got locked for the box, it ain't steak. Can't you tell me that you need me? Thirsty for that Fiji. You know they can't see me. Sit on my face and free me. I heard that the ops wish they swap in my place. I swear they want me gone, MIA, not today. And she gon' let her shots from the back in her ring. And when I hit it right, she gon' say, just tell me that you want me. You know that I listen. Just tell me that you need me. You know that I'm different. Just tell me that you got that. Just tell me what it feel like. I just want that ass fast. You know I'ma do right. Just tell me that you want me. You know that I listen. Just tell me that you need me. 'Cause you know that I'm different, different. Oh, just tell me that you got that. Just tell me what it feel like. You know that ass fast. You know I'ma do.
All right, that was Pavelli 2 Times, Pasha 2 Times. That's called "Want Me." It's on all streaming platforms. Go listen to that. All right, guys, we got 5 guys in the chat. You guys got any questions? Lay them on me on Zoom. We got 5 guys. Hey, yo. I haven't had 5 guys in man long. Hey, yo, pause. What? It's a restaurant, guys, just in case you didn't know. All right. You guys got any questions? You got a few minutes. Internet connection unstable. What's going on? All right, guys. 444 is the time on the East Coast. I'm guessing you guys don't have any questions. Going once. Going motherfucking twice. Okay, guess not. All right, guys. I'm all for this. Guys, on Instagram, if you wanted questions, you got to get on Patreon. Get access to the Zoom call. You get your questions answered, all right? But I'm out of here.